What's up? I'm Joe with OCDetailing, and it's been a while since I've got to do one of these videos. So typically we're just showing off videos of cars we worked on here at the shop, things we do to them. But every once in a while, Tesla releases a new car, and I like to do a review and kind of give you my thoughts on it. I am the owner of a detail shop. We wrap a bunch of cars, we tint the windows on them. I get to see all kinds of cool cars all the time. And here are my thoughts of this one. This is a Tesla Model S, but it's a Plaid Model S. So I'm going to start with just taking a look at it. The first thing that jumped out at me when I looked at this car was that it had black calipers, which I thought is really cool. Traditionally with a Tesla Model S, the Performance had red calipers or the Long Range had silver calipers, but this one actually has gloss black calipers, which is awesome. And along with the gloss black calipers, it has all this gloss black trim. These cars come, they're not chrome deleted, they just don't come with chrome, except for the front and rear T, which is kind of weird. Along with that, some other noticeable differences from a regular Model S. This really big camera. So I don't know because I haven't read about it. I have no idea. My first impression of this camera being like this was so that it could see past the wider fender flare in the back. Because the fender flare does stick out more. The back end of this car is wider than a regular Model S. I saw this. I was like, huh, interesting. So this is something that you would traditionally see on like a 911 or a high performance like BMW. Some will have it, which is this little splash area right here. This is a piece of paint protection film that somebody cut with a hacksaw and installed here to protect this from chips. And the reason they have this here is because this car has massive tires on it. The front tires are 265s and they stick out really far, along with the back tires that are 295s. You would only see this type of Cup 2 295 ZR rated tire on something that was like seriously meant for business. In fact, I don't think they even put tires like this on the Performance P100D. Sometimes they had cup tires on them, but I don't think they were this big. That being said, this thing's meant for business. Like, it's pretty obvious to me by the tires, by the extra fender flare, the fact that they have to put this here to stop rocks from flying off the front tire at high speed. Just means this is a faster car. Even if I didn't know what this car was, just being around cars enough, I would assume this is some sort of a sports car because of these features. Going around to the back of the car, it has a wing. So I have to pick on Tesla a little bit because one day they got to get this right. I am yet to see any of their cars come out where the spoiler fits like it's supposed to. I don't know where they glitched that at, but every company I've ever seen put a wing on a car, they usually put them on straight. But even this brand new Plaid over here, I can see there's a bigger gap on this side of the wing than there is on this side. And I know I'm OCD and I'm kind of nitpicky, kind of bothers me on occasion, but it does look cool. This is definitely a different style than you see on the outgoing Model S. It has more of a duck bill, like more of a bill effect. It comes off instead of just sitting on top. I don't know if it's actually functional or does anything for downforce, but it does look cool. And then we have a chrome T, a very lonely chrome T, because I don't know why. They made everything else on the car black except the T. So the T is chrome. That's okay though. We have a solution for that. We'll black that out. And then down here they have this really aggressive looking diffuser. I don't know how functional this is, but judging by Elon's comments of this car having a super low rolling drag coefficient, I'm betting this does something to the wind because again, diffusers like this usually are seen on more aggressive sporty cars, and the Plaid is a very aggressive car. But the thing is like the reason I'm saying that this is different on this car is because if you took a long range Model S previous to this one and you parked it next to a Performance, you would be hard pressed to tell the difference. They look almost exactly the same, where I think this car's got some really signifying differences that make it stand out to be a performance car, even though a P100D is very fast. I do love this. About time. So they left the T chrome, but they gave you a black chrome license plate. I'm not beating the car. It just makes that noise. But it's a black chrome license plate. But they don't put the, that's strange. So on the Model Ys and the Model 3s, they actually now have a plastic backing that goes on here, and this screws into it to keep it off the paint so it doesn't scratch it. But on this car, they just put the plate on, which it's still black chrome, way better than the chrome one, but it's most likely going to rub on the paint and scratch it over time. Luckily, we're going to put some paint protection film on this car, and it'll stop that from happening. This car also has this Plaid badge. I'm told this is just for the 25 cars that were picked up last Thursday at the press event. Really cool. If anybody is a Spaceballs fan, you know what that is. The other things I'm going to show you on this car, it looks like a Model S. I mean, let's go up to the front bumper, because that is different on this, actually, quite a bit. This looks very familiar to the outgoing Model S. This T right here, chrome, it's so weird to me. They blacked out literally everything on the car down to the license plate frame, but these are still chrome. Kind of interesting. But the front bumper, this is very different than the outgoing Model S. So this looks more like the design on the Model 3 and the Model Y. You have these openings here with this elongated fog light against it. The previous gen, like Model X and S, have a fog light that would just literally would sit right here. And this opening would cave in, and there's a couple slats. Where this one, the one big fog light and the opening here, I'm guessing it's more aerodynamic, and they learned that from the Model 3 and the Model Y, and that's why they do that on this one. And then you have the really big opening here. It also looks like a Model 3 or a Model Y to me as well. And you have a lot of polish in between the sensor and the paint. This also is very reminiscent of a Model 3 or a Model Y or any Tesla for that matter. That's okay, we'll clean that up. And then the headlights, from what I can tell, are exactly the same as the outgoing Model S. I see no visible difference on those. This right here is a little deceptive. It actually sticks out further than the bumper by a good margin. And on the outgoing Model S, it stuck out barely, but this is, I mean, this sticks out pretty far. I'm imagining this thing will be a curb magnet, but I'm assuming all these Plaid cars have air suspension, so you can raise it up and down, and it'll remember locations so you don't scrape this too bad. But it's a really cool look. It looks very aggressive. This car looks way more aggressive than the outgoing one. And that's about it on the outside. Now let's go inside, because that's where it's like, it's a new car. You know what's really crazy about this car is it doesn't look very different from the outgoing Model S. It does have some subtle tweaks, but I remember when the Model S first came out, they touted it the most aerodynamic car, production car ever made. And I guess it's really hard to recreate that or beat it, because once you set out to engineer the most aerodynamic car you can make, it's really hard to do better without some major jump in technology, which they've had major jumps in technology in the battery and the way they do the electric motors, and apparently the case and the servo on this car that's around the motor. But the actual design, the drag coefficient, it had to stay the same. So I'm really happy that the Model S was always such a good looking car, because even with these subtle tweaks, it still doesn't look aged to me. It still looks really great. So now let's check out the inside of the car. My previous experience, I have learned, is the first thing I should do is make sure there's nothing like, the customer's address on this screen. So we're all clear there. And let's take a look inside this thing. It's like, first off, very premium. They brought back the perforated seats. This is something they used to have in the Model X, and they killed it off. So the vented seats, they killed this off in the Model X. I never saw it again after like 2015, but they brought it back for the Plaid Model S, and it's great. It feels really, really premium. All the leather in here feels really nice. I don't think it's any different from what you would get in the current offerings. The screen layouts, this screen is massive. I'd be curious to measure this to see if it's bigger than a Model 3 screen, but I think it is. It looks a little bit bigger. And then you have the extra screen up here. This is all still really, really simple. They took away a lot of buttons that are in a Model S, the outgoing Model S, and they also gave it the yoke steering wheel. This is, as I said in another video, this reminds me of Kit. I'm waiting for the car to talk to me, but this car will drive itself. I wondered too if you could be like voice command, hey, turbo boost, and it would jump. I'm just kidding. But apparently in launch mode, maybe this car will jump 0 to 60 in less than 2 seconds, which is unheard of in any car, short of, you know, drag cars and stuff with insane, like not very daily usable, nothing you could fit 7 passengers comfortably in. You have the door panels, they changed those up quite a bit. The dash is all changed up. This is all very different. It seems like Tesla had so much success with the Model 3 and the Model Y that they incorporated a ton of that stuff in this car. Just some of the simple in and out. On this car, it's actually haptic touch. It's not a button to open the door, which is pretty cool. The buttons on the steering wheel, they keep it really simple. Your wiper controls, your blinker left and right. This is actually really great because I would love to see a similar steering wheel to this inside of the Model 3 or the Model Y. Maybe not a yoke, because you know you don't have a display in front of you. There's no point of it. And I'm questionable on how I feel about this from my little drive from driving it over to the other shop and back over here. It was kind of weird. But I imagine you would get used to it like anything else if you really like it. And it does look super cool. And also, with self-driving coming soon, we hope, you know, who cares, right? You have really cool dry carbon fiber in here. This is another thing that you usually would see in a P100D. The dry carbon look, it's another thing you see in a lot of performance cars. There's, you know, my Audi RS has the same kind of look. It's carbon fiber and fast cars kind of go hand in hand. The big panel roof in here, very similar to the outgoing Model S. It's the same thing, and then the Alcantara headliner. This is really nice. This actually feels nicer than the previous gen. I guess it feels a little different. The thing that's actually catching my eye when I'm just looking around in here is that the fit and finish inside seems to be really good. I don't see... Well, I spoke too soon. I look back and I see a rubber gasket that's sticking out. So, yeah, the fit and finish seems to be Tesla. Yeah, I'll just say that. But it's still not bad. It's like, I honestly would have expected worse. I remember when I saw a Signature Model X, like the first Signature Model X I ever saw, there were a lot of problems with that car. Same thing with the Model 3, same thing with the Model Y, same thing with the Model S. Like there's a lot of issues on the initial cars. But this is overall, it's pretty good. It's about Tesla quality that you would expect, which isn't perfect, but that's okay. It's like you're not, you know, a lot of people are just accepting of the fact that Tesla's working through their production issues, and you're getting an incredible car that does something that no other car on the planet does. So you're accepting of, you know, maybe a rubber gasket on your new car hanging out of the back window. I'm going to go through just each button. I'm going to push it and just see what happens. This is the menu button inside of any Model S, Model X. You have all the different options here. You have pedals and steering. So it lets you know your acceleration. You have your what? Oh, totally missed that. Alex was like, dragster, oh, what? It's a dragster mode, how to launch. How to launch. Okay, so in dragster mode provides optimum acceleration for closed circuit driving on a surface with good traction. Entering brake stand in dragster mode lowers the front suspension, reduces ground clearance significantly. Only use on, I feel the car lowering right now. Do you feel that? So you firmly hold the brake with your left foot, fully press the accelerator, and when it says ready to launch, like release the brake. Pretty simple. That's actually how you launch a bunch of cars. That's how you launch a Porsche or a few other cars too. That's pretty standard launch control. So push this, hold brake, slam accelerator, let off brake, and it'll go. Acceleration, chill, sport, plaid. Suspension modes, you have auto, sport, and advanced. This is new. So it lets you set different ride heights and stuff and do it to your specifications. I guess that helps with the racetrack too. Charging, pretty standard. Autopilot, double click for autopilot or single click. Full self-driving, and then it has speed limit, current speed. Locks, this is just the key fob you can set, key card you can set. The lights, auto display, clean screen mode, brightness, how you want it to, if you want it to go light or dark, or you want it to auto dim. A few other settings there, whether you want to be American or not. Then it has trips, navigation, safety. So it's got, this is for the dash cam and stuff in Sentry mode. Service, it shows you your tire PSI, camera calibration. Oh, that's pretty cool. That's really cool, actually. The camera calibration is on here. It'll let you do it from this. Huh?
VINs and software.
Oh, yeah. Okay. And then I would show you software, but the VIN number's there. And I go over here. This brings up your phone call, your phone that's attached. You would obviously connect the phone. You'd have calls, message, all that stuff. You have this that brings up another sub-menu of basically everything you can do.
You can move it around.
Oh, you can move these around? Yeah. Oh, but I'm not going to move them around, but apparently Alex is telling me you can move these around. So does the camera. Then you have this right here that's got your entertainment, your arcade, your theater, your toy box, along with your browser. So this is kind of like an all-in-one button. Also, there's individual buttons for these things. And then a messaging app and Spotify. Here's the ventilation. This looks like a Model 3 to me. You can actually move this up and down or blow it all over the place. Heat, cool, auto. This car also comes with biodefense. So if you happen to be somewhere where the air pollution is bad, like in Northern California, and there's like fires and stuff, that's a great thing to have. Also, you've got the dog mode, and you've got camp mode, so you can sleep in here, and it keeps it cool. Yeah, and then you have the volume up and down, and that's pretty much the screen. It'll look very familiar to you if you have a Model S, X, or 3, or Y, if you have a current Tesla. But it also feels very different to me, and this is lightning fast. I saw 0 delays on this thing. It actually it handles this stuff like it's nothing. So you have volume controls up here. If you push this, it's just asking me to fasten my seatbelt. I think I have to be driving to be able to do this, or turn the car. I don't think it'll let me play with this. No. Okay, fasten seatbelt, tap to drive. Okay, now, no, still can't play with the screen.
Oh, okay. Interesting. I thought you could do more stuff like see trips and all that stuff.
I bet you can somehow, but we don't know how to do that, so we're not gonna do it. So hopping in the back seat, it feels just like a regular Model S does. It's pretty roomy back here. I know I look cramped, but this seat is set like almost in its furthest back position. Just because we were filming in there, and also I'm pretty tall. That being said, I am sitting upright. My head is nowhere near the roof, so there's a lot of room there. There's this really cool screen back here. I think this lets me do a lot of the same stuff that screen does. Actually more. I've got Netflix, Hulu, YouTube. Wow, neat. Heated back seats. Heated and ventilated back seats. Wait, they're not ventilated, are they? You know what's really strange is, we'll just talk about this. So this is showing me an option for heated seats, but they're ventilated. So I wonder, I have to check up front too, see if the ventilated seats are just for decoration or if they're actually for the perforation. Oh, the front seats are ventilated, but the back seats are perforated but not ventilated. Huh, interesting. And then you can watch movies back here, which is kind of cool. So you click on Netflix, and it'll let you watch Netflix. Pretty neat for someone in the back seat. Also, I remember a while ago they had an executive edition Model S that had something like this. I can figure out how to. There's a button up here. That had something like this. It was a console that had cup holders and like this is a phone charger. Neat. And then like a little space for storing some stuff. Arm pad. So this was available only for a little bit of time. They had this optional little console, and it wasn't nearly this nice. It actually just sat in between the seats of a Model S. But this is much better because it integrates. You can fold it down, you can put it up. Pretty neat and pretty standard in a lot of luxury cars. It's kind of weird that it's taking Tesla this long to put one of these in here. It's pretty strange that it's taken this long to get one of these in the back of a Model S, because this is a luxury sedan, and I think every other luxury sedan I've ever gotten in, like from BMW, Mercedes, they all have this. Even the Porsche Taycan, actually, it doesn't even have a middle seat. It's just got a console and stuff there. So that's cool they added that, and it does have a carbon fiber overlay, so that makes it look pretty neat. Yeah, the door panels are cool. It's got the same kind of Model 3 haptic, or this one's a haptic button like it is in here, but it's a button to get you in and out. They also have the Plaid door inserts that are pretty neat. I'll open the door so you can see it a little better. This is a Plaid insert in the door. And then the carpet feels a lot plushier in here than it is in the outgoing Model S. Okay, let's take a look at the frunk. You guys know what's coming, right? You can fit half a dead body in there. So it actually looks the same size as the frunk on a Model S. I do notice that this is these springs are very springy, I guess, or the air shocks. The air shocks are actually really strong on this. It seems to pick this up. I'm curious to see. Oh, it's the same thing. Yeah. So on a Model S, it was always actually any of the Teslas. Like I don't know what it is with the metal stamping on the hood, but they always feel like you could dent them super easy. And if you look, I'm just putting barely the weight on my hand on this, and it's causing ripples in the metal. I don't see that across a lot of other cars, and I think it's because the way they have no bracing up against here. So they actually have this insert in here, but there's nothing up against the hood, where in a lot of other cars you'll see stuff that goes across the back of the hood, and then you'll see this gap kind of like this. The finish on the underneath the hood is actually really good. It looks better than I'm used to seeing, and the frunk doesn't have anything that's out of the norm in here. Huh? Oh, to accommodate the bigger motor, huh? You know, Alex just pointed out to me, this is angled, which is different than the outgoing Model S. It's because it has a much bigger motor up here. I mean, these are rated at over 1,000 horsepower. There's also the button in here to release from the inside, which, you know, if you ever happen to get thrown in one of these and you're alive, you can push this button to open it and get yourself out. Now let's go take a look at the rear trunk. And again, closing on any Tesla hood, you should be using firm pressure on either side and pushing down lightly. Open. I'm just being goofy. The rear trunk, it's wider. It looks wider than the outgoing Model S, which makes sense. Yeah, I think so. We'll get a measuring tape and verify, but this is definitely looks like more room. I feel like it's more room because I have built subwoofer boxes for these and stuck them in this corner on other Model S's. And that being said, I don't remember having this much room right here. It does have the extra little pocket that goes down right here, and then the other piece where you can lift this up, and you've got the little satin pocket there. Also, we have a Windows sticker here for this car that says price as equipped was $129,190. And some other cool stuff I'm not going to mess with because it's all the owners, but it looks like he was given these cool Plaid posters. Do you want to show them? Here, just come over here and glance. He was given these cool Plaid posters, I guess that for picking up his car on the delivery day. I'll leave that stuff alone though. He probably wants to get all that framed. And oh, this is new. We got buttons now. We got these buttons to release the seats, which I heard them click, but I don't see anything going down. There's also buttons on the back of the seat. I wonder if I got to. Oh, so it did disengage the seat. It just doesn't click down on its own. Which is weird they would put that button there and make that like that. You would think the button would do it automatically instead of just.
Both buttons on the line?
It works. It disengages it, but you still kind of defeats the purpose. Yeah, I mean, because okay, there's buttons on the back of the seats too, like these. That if you're gonna have to lean over and do that anyways, I don't see a point in having these here. But I'm confused by that, to be honest. But yeah, the trunk is the trunk. It looks about the same as the outgoing Model S. This looks wider. This looks thicker too. Looking up, this looks thicker. I don't know if there's more electronics or the hatch is a little bit bigger, so they had to make this. But we have a measuring tape. We'll do some comparisons later. No, I don't think so. Maybe up here. Yeah, this is a big speaker.
Oh, yeah.
Speakers. It's weird how they did all this in panels. It's like, this isn't hollow anymore. It used to be hollow on both sides. But I guess they have to accommodate the bigger motors and probably electronics and stuff somewhere. Along with apparently in this car there's a really big heater that keeps the battery cool, so you can launch it over and over and over and over again without it having battery degradation or performance problems from getting hot. And that's the Plaid Model S. I don't know what else to say about it because it's just, it looks just like a Model S. Like if you didn't know what you were looking at, you probably would be hard pressed to tell the difference between this and the outgoing Model S. That being said, if you're a true car enthusiast, you're going to recognize this car having some very aggressive features that signify high performance, which is what this is. Along with that, though, I have to wonder, is the dual motor going to look identical to this one? Because if it looks identical, just minus like the brake calipers and the big wheels, I don't know. Does it really separate the Plaid that much other than the performance? Because, you know, you have AMG cars and M cars that look wildly more aggressive than their siblings, which are still very, very nice cars. So I wonder if Tesla's doing that, but I'll be curious to see. As for this car, the interior's out of this world. That's insane. I've never seen anything like it before. It's really cool. The steering wheel, I don't know how much I like it, but it's cool. And then the rest of it's just Tesla. It's like, it's so funny. I cracked myself up a little bit when I'm like, hey, look, the build quality in here's, what's that rubber gasket? But, you know, again, nobody buys a Tesla expecting it to be perfect. I've talked to thousands of Tesla owners, and they all say the same thing. They say they bought the car because it's awesome to drive. They like the fact that it's electric. It's better for the environment. And it's really, really cool technology packed into a car, not because it has a perfect fit and finish. And this is another example of that. The most technologically advanced car probably on the planet is right here. With that, you get some paint defects and you know, rubber seal in or out of place, but you do 0 to 60 in under 2 seconds. Worth it. Thanks for watching. I'm Joe with OCDetailing. Please subscribe for more videos.